Okay, welcome everybody to the Board of Professional Engineers, Architects, Surveyors, and Landscape Architects Board meeting. But today is going to be a hybrid meeting, so we'll be having a short video played.
Welcome to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
When the meeting begins momentarily, the chair will take a roll call, explain any specific rules for this particular board, and then move to public comment. The name of the board member will appear on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. For instance, this is board member Y, and this is board member E. Public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. You can indicate that you are ready to testify by clicking on the Raise Hand button being circled by the mouse on your screen now. At the appropriate time, the board will recognize you to speak and ask you to unmute your mic as shown here. Again, public testimony will be accepted at the beginning of the meeting and before each agenda item. Public attendees will not be able to unmute their microphone until recognized by the board. Public attendees who are recognized to testify will be asked to identify themselves by name and their affiliated organization if applicable. Please mute your microphone when you are finished speaking, as a courtesy to others and members of the board. Public attendees will not be able to unmute themselves after the testimony is completed unless recognized again after raising their hand. At some point during the meeting, the board may choose to move into executive session. When the board moves into executive session, the board members' microphones and video feeds will be turned off, and a similar screen as you see now will be displayed. When the board returns from executive session, their microphones will be turned on as well as their video cameras.
Welcome again to the Professional and Vocational Licensing Virtual Board Meeting.
At this time, the chair will call the meeting to order and take a roll call, as well as explain any additional rules that may be specific to this board.
Or other identifier if you wish to remain anonymous. You will also be asked for an email address. You may fill in this field with any entry in an email format. Your microphone will be automatically muted. When the chairperson asks for public testimony, you may click the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen to indicate that you wish to testify about that agenda item. The chairperson will individually enable each testifier to unmute their microphone. When recognized by the chairperson, please unmute your microphone before speaking and mute your microphone after you finish speaking. Upon request, your Zoom video or similar on-camera option will be enabled to allow you to be visible to the board members and other meeting participants while presenting oral testimony. Please turn off your camera after you conclude your testimony. It is the individual testifier's responsibility to ensure they have video and internet capabilities to successfully stream or remotely testify. The board maintains the authority to remove and block individuals who willfully disrupt or compromise the conduct of the meeting. Phone access. If you cannot get internet access, you may get audio-only access by calling the phone number listed at the top of the agenda. Upon dialing the number, you'll be prompted to enter the meeting ID, which is also listed at the top of the agenda. After entering the meeting ID, you will be asked to either enter your panelist number or wait to be admitted into the meeting. You will not have a panelist number, so please wait until you are admitted into the meeting. Chairperson asks for public testimony. You may indicate your want to testify by entering *9 on your phone's keypad. After entering star and then 9, a voice prompt will let you know that the host of the meeting has been notified. When recognized by the chairperson, You may unmute yourself by pressing star and then 6 on your phone. A voice prompt will let you know that you are unmuted. Once you are finished speaking, please enter star and then 6 again to mute yourself. For both internet and phone access, when testifying, you will be asked to identify yourself and the organization, if any, that you represent. Each testifier will be limited to 5 minutes of testimony per agenda item. If connection to the meeting is lost for more than 30 minutes, the meeting will be continued on a specified date and time. This information will be provided on the board's website. Instructions to attend State of Hawaii virtual board meetings may be found online at the board's website.
Okay, agenda item number 1. I'm going to take a roll call. And for those on Zoom, if you can confirm that you're present and alone. Kevin Katayama here. Clayton Peng. Here. Howard Lau. Here. Ryan Fujiwara. Here. John Lucas. Here. John Takitani.
Here,
Are you alone?
here, I am alone.
Thank you. Jay Shibashi. Here. Janet Premiano.
Here.
Nancy Cassandro.
Here.
Joel Kurokawa.
Here.
Eleni Nava.
Here.
Alyssa Carson.
Here.
Tony Lau.
Here.
Seeing that we have a quorum, I'll call the meeting to order at 10:07 a.m. As a reminder, if you're speaking for any portion of this meeting, if you can state your name before you speak on the topic. Thank you. Agenda item number 2, Chair's announcement. We'd like to welcome our new board member, Alyssa Carlson. She's an architecture member. Would like to say a few words?
I'm Alyssa Carson. I'm happy and grateful to be here, and look forward to serving with you all on this board.
Even though not on the agenda, we also like to welcome Mr. Eli Lane, who's our new executive officer. He failed to put it on the agenda. We'll welcome him anyway. Okay, agenda item number 3. Hey.
Yeah, just for everybody's side, we're deferring that to the next meeting.
Okay. For approval of open session and executive session minutes of the meeting of June 12, 2025. We'll be deferring that to our next board meeting. Agenda item number 4, new business. NCARB report from the NCARB annual meeting. Board members Brian Fujiwara, John Lucas, and Janet Premiano represented the board at the NCARB annual meeting in Scottsdale, Arizona from June 19th to the 21st. Is there any public testimony on this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. This is Tony. We do not have any requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, thank you. Ryan and team, you want to go over any highlights to the meeting?
Sure. John Lucas. Thank you, Janet provided the detailed summary of the 2025 business meeting in Scottsdale. I also emailed Eli last night my summary. If anybody wants a copy of it, I can email it to you. But basically, the Hawaii delegation included Brian, Janet, and myself. Noel was also there in different capacity, I believe. I was in Scottsdale, June 19 to 22. So the 55 U.S. Architecture License Board convened for the annual business meeting. The meeting served as a forum to elect board directors, vote on resolutions, and then should agenda for the next year, like going through the different business meetings and having our input discussion. We also had the opportunity to hear the keynote remarks from management expert, change change management expert, Rick Lauer. It's kind of boring, honestly. What else? There was like 5 or 6 workshops. There was a member board workshop specifically that Janet attended. There was 5 different ones. Basically one about the competency standard, pathways to practice, preparing for regulatory change and advocacy, understanding the education landscape, and empowering public input. So we each had the opportunity to turn 3 workshops. I attended Pathway to Practice, Preparing for Change, and Understanding Education Landscape. Specifically on the Shaping the Future License, the Pathways to Practice, the focus was on awareness and accessibility. According to the presenters, they're like in the D phase of redefining the pathways to licensure. They did talk about the competency standard and one of the key takeaways was the word versus hours ratio, and the introduction of a portfolio in lieu of, or in conjunction with the 3 E's, the education and experience. Okay, so that's all on that one. On the regulatory change, NCARB has a ledge tracker that we can tap into. Also national. They encourage lobbying and getting the university involved. Also, they said the AIA be a big help in helping to have advocacy. And one of the things that was mentioned is if you have trying to get something done, so keep it narrow so other people can't jump in and like exploit, you know, what they want to get out of the proposal. Education landscape. So one interesting thing was there's an ESL accommodation now. So they give additional time on the test. That increased the ARA pass rate by 25%. We also talked about like the portfolio and the certificate. And then on the new competency standard, it was said that 13 of the 16 competencies can be acquired in an educational setting. The other 3, the only way to get them is through work. There was 3,600 new architects in 2024. And the average, on average, it took 12.9 years to obtain a license in architecture from starting school to. There was 4 resolutions introduced. There were MRAs with Canada, passed 53-1. MRA with South Africa, passed 53-1. The one dissenting vote in both was New York. Number 3 resolution by the 3 was just the international terminology. I think maybe foreigner to international, just like that passed unanimously. And then the last one was an education alternative eligibility. And that passed 53-1 with Delaware being the one dissenter. My understanding is that that one takes away that 3-year requirement for continual licensure. There was an MRA, we talked about it briefly in the past with Costa Rica, that went away. I think there's some logistics and standards that still need to be worked out between the 2 countries and organizations. In the business meetings, Joel, our president, took part in a leadership forum to discuss the respective, with the respective presidents of CIDQ and CS and NCARB. So the ICOR forum was how do regulatory boards prepare for change? Topics were discussed were climate change, natural disasters, new pathways, mobility, accessibility, education to public, and update standards. Also, Brian was recognized for his service on the credentials committee. And then in elections, there's a list of all the elected people, but the one I want to point out was our Region 6 Director, Tian Fang. Super nice guy. We spent some time with him. All the Pacific Islanders were kind of got together and he spent some time with us, and it was nice. In our Region 6 meeting, there was lots of topics discussed. Brian gave the update. In past regional meetings, basically Nevada's ward was on a chopping block. They're okay now. Nevada had its first graduate from an accredited community college, architecture. So that's pretty cool. Arizona was also on the chopping block, but they're now okay. Idaho is now on the chopping block, courtesy of Doge. And then in Utah, they had one interesting issue that if it is a commercial building less than 3,000 square feet, it does not need an architect. A draftsman could sign off on that, which raised a lot of concern. So I can keep going if you want. Here's like there's some more information. If you're interested, like I said, I can share this with you. Gina brought hers, and if you have any other questions about it, just let us know.
Thanks. Thank you.
Did you want to ask a question or something?
I did. Question on that Nevada Community College graduated an architecture degree. Is that a bachelor's or?
I'm assuming. I wouldn't.
Community college?
I work for a CC. I'm not trying to put down CCs, but I'm not sure. Usually I'll try to find out.
Just wondering if they're offering 4-year programs.
Yeah.
Most community college are just 2 years, right?
So an accredited CC. First graduate.
Janet?
Yes, I did attend, just a comment about the public members workshop. We had one for public members, and it was led by the director of the public director that sits on the board. My name is Janet Primiano. I'm a public member on the ISLA board. And so I attended that workshop, and it was basically more of a discussion, talk story kind of thing, and sharing ideas about what public members, the benefit of having a public member involved in each of the states and jurisdictions. And we discussed what the role of the public members were, and to help the board to get what needs to be done. These are just some of the comments that came out, and helped redirect the board and our allies, watch for unethical practice, stay on the subject matter, and protect the health and safety of the public. Where someone had made a comment, the public members are the voice of reason. They're the regulators, and wanted to know how NCARB can support public members. They already have advocacy and a seat on the NCARB Board of Directors, and public members are included on committees. Volunteering for committees were highly encouraged as an opportunity to help with the NCARB matters. I was very proud that we had Brian Fujiwara helping on a committee called Credentials. And for some reason, I was asked to be part of that committee for 2026. So I don't know if it's a whole, I think that impression that you have left, good impression that you have left. So thank you very much. And I was also proud to see Joel Kuakara there, the CLARB president, national president. And so he sat on the panel. So it's nice to see that Hawaii was represented, well represented at this meeting. Jonathan did a great job, and Brian was our key person to vote for us. And we had, because we didn't have enough time during our district meeting, our regional meeting, 6, to discuss some of the matters that were not able to be discussed because everyone was doing oral reports from each of the states. And so that took up a lot of our time that we had allocated for that meeting. And so we went and Jonathan and Brian and I had gone on the outside after that meeting and discussed some of the resolutions, and we made our own decisions because we didn't get to hear what all the other states in our region was going to do. And so that was very, very effective to do it like that. So thank you very much for allowing me to attend.
Right.
I mean, I think they said, you know. But it was.
Cover the gist of the meeting.
It was a good annual meeting.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 4B. We'll be discussing the formation of a permitted interaction group, PIG, to investigate Hawaii's landscape architecture license requirement with, I guess, the National Council of Landscape Architect Registration Board Uniform Standards. Any public comments on this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Let's see, so I have a summary. It's actually based on a later agenda, but this is about a bill, SB 1625. That is, the purpose of the bill is to adopt a uniform standard for landscape architecture licensure developed by the Council of Landscape Architecture, Registration Boards, CLARB. SB 1625 was introduced during the 2025 legislative session, but was not heard by committee. This bill is not quite dead. It will get brought back up. There is a possibility that it will be brought up as an administrative bill. And the purpose of this discussion is to form a PIG to do more research into the specific requirements, the statutes and rules, and look at proposing new language for the bill.
How many members on a PIG?
So it could be anything greater than 2, but less than a quorum.
Quorum is 7.
How many? Yeah, I think it would be
6. I think it's 6.
yeah. It's
That's
60
the
members, then there's 8, right?
Our board is a little different, so
Okay.
I think our quorum is 6.
Okay.
So we're gonna have any more.
So nothing more than
5
5.
for the PIG committee. Any volunteers for the PIG committee?
Of course, me.
Joe Korakawa and Nancy Cassandro. Anybody else?
Can I just kind of ask a question then and also just kind of make a statement? When I was talking previous, Nancy Cassandra, landscape architect, when I was talking to Sheena previously when the SB 1625 came through, I think the purpose of the PIG is to kind of take a look at the CLARB uniform standards in comparison to our Hawaii standards. and sort of educate everyone on the board and maybe what those are, what the differences are, and why the landscape architecture community in Hawaii support changing it. And so basically to answer what and why so that everyone on the board can understand and then understand the possible process. So basically what, why, and how. So for Hawaii to adopt them. So in discussions previously with Sheena, that's kind of perhaps doing the pig would be the best way forward for everyone to understand, because landscape architecture is one of the design professions. Projects that are done were always done with architect, engineers, landscape architects. So I think it's good for us to combine and have a understanding of it.
Well, the current laws, I guess the national rules and to fit in our current laws and rules that we have. That's the purpose of the big committee. To see what's out there and how it best fits for our board. And to answer the Senate's questions, Senator Moriwaki's questions.
Yeah, I'd just like to point out that for those of you that were on the board back in June of 2022, the board approved in principle the uniform standard. It was presented, I think a few months earlier to the board, and I think we had the CLARB CEO and at that time the CLARB president on video present to discuss the uniform standard and the whys of that. I've also, I think it's been circulated in an earlier meeting, the comparison between our current landscape architecture licensing requirements and the CLARP standard. And I can share that if folks are interested, or we can wait till the pig is formed. But
After the pig is
there's
formed.
some history on it, and I just wanted to point that out.
Anybody else would like to be on the committee?
Well, what does that entail? I mean, do you guys?
Generally,
once
there's
a week or do?
up to the committee how often they want to meet and if there's any pressing issues to discuss. And you discuss it amongst your committee and then come present it to the board of your findings or recommendations.
Then just briefly, I was gonna cover this a little bit in our Sunshine Law overview, but just so that we understand, since we're talking about this permitted interaction group. So in a nutshell, the purpose of this meeting should be to specifically define who's gonna be in this permitted interaction group. Also the scope of what the scope of the purpose of the pig is. Just to establish that, basically a pig is created to allow members to speak about board business specifically related to the pig outside of duly noticed meetings. So it gives a vessel for, let's say, if there's 3 members to talk about, only limited to the purposes of what was defined as the scope of the pig. That's what's going to happen today. The next meeting that will happen will be when the pig is ready to present their findings and recommendations. They'll come to the board, perhaps provide a report or a presentation and their findings and recommendations. At that point, the board is not able to ask questions or deliberate at that meeting. And that the purpose of that is to allow the public an opportunity to hear it and to maybe educate themselves on the topic. And then the third meeting would be when the board is able to deliberate, ask questions, and discuss the pig's findings and recommendations, at which point most of the public would be given an opportunity to comment on that. So those are the 3 meetings that are typically happen with the pig. Just to note, after the pig gives its report at its second meeting, it's dissolved. It would no longer be in place. So the pig members wouldn't be able to discuss board business outside of the duly noticed meetings.
Ryan, would you like to be a part of? Or that's
I'll volunteer.
Anybody else?
We'd like to have a public member on the committee. Jack, would be nice, I think. Yeah.
Well, unless Jay, you wanna? Okay, I'll volunteer too.
The engineer or surveyor? Okay, seeing no other volunteers.
Do we need to determine what the scope is?
Yes, I'd lay out what the specific scope is.
So I have a suggestion of what the scope should be. If we want to compare and evaluate the CLARB uniform standard against the current licensing requirements to see what the differences are is one item. Two is to propose or recommend amendments to the statute. One of the things that I have, found in kind of just scrutinizing our statute is that all the details related to the requirements for licensure, not only for landscape architects, but for all of the disciplines, the details are in the law. And the law also states, so there's a contradiction here in the law, gives the licensing board the authority to make rules, amend rules, or delete rules. But we really can't because requirements are in the law rather than in the rules. And so it's repeated, it is in the rules, but it's also repeated in the statute. And so, which is one of the reasons why there's a contradiction there that not only is applicable to landscape architects, but if engineers, architects, surveyors wanted to make changes, they would not be able to do so except through going through a legislative process. And the law allows us to make those rules. So there's a contradiction there.
Okay, is that it?
Vote on.
Is there a motion to adopt what Joe said?
So moved, Tony Lau.
Brian, second.
Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries for that. Is there a motion to adopt the 4 members of the committee? Joe Kurakawa, Nancy Cassandro, Brian Fujiwara, and Janet Primiano.
So moved, Tony Lau.
Second?
Second.
Second, Howard, say Howard. Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is that it? For that? Yep. Okay. Agenda item number 4C, discussion on potential design changes for the licensure certificates. Any public comments on this agenda item?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Hey, I start the discussion.
Sounds
Hopefully it
good.
won't be too long, but
Oh, thank you. This is Eli Lane, Executive Officer. With the potential design changes to ensure certificates, what we print and put on our walls. This will have to go through administration on my end. So this is an opportunity for discussing what design changes we would like to apply to the certificates. And I'm going to record our notes and changes or desired changes and take them to administration to find out what the feasibility and next steps are. And I'll report back to you as well.
Well, I have a question that, what came about, why did this change? Who decided to go this this route?
In my research and asking around, I was told that it is standardized. That's why it has been kind of reduced into its very simple form. Standardized across multiple boards, regulatory boards. So that is the reasoning that I understand. Yeah.
So previously, like say the other, I don't know, doctors or dentists, they were issued like some of these, I mean. Currently.
Yeah, currently.
Now for some comments.
Of course.
Tony Lau, just some comments. So in a previous role, with another organization, I had pursued potentially switching back to a previous version of the ISLA issued certificates. Some feedback we've gotten was the size of the certificate was going to be a challenge for the state due to budgetary type of issues, which would require a larger envelope. The people that may have produced the previous certificates or those positions were no longer available and not backfilled. Some suggestions we had offered, we were understanding that say, for example, the accounting board or a separate organization had offered to produce certificates once they received the names from the state. And I'm not sure if that's still ongoing, but the accounting organization would then provide the larger envelopes and such. That it's a little more complicated with our board with the many disciplines involved. There's not necessarily one particular organization that could offer that. Some ideas I've received from people in the public that this topic is passionate for them is what if there were an option to provide a nice certificate that they could pay for as an option. But I think in past research, they said that might be logistically challenging for the state. But anyway, those are some comments to consider when we move in this direction.
Definitely. That's something that I can ask, I can bring to the administration as well, especially the proposing the option of purchasing a fancier edition of a license.
Can I make a comment too? Because, when I first came on the board, I believe, someone from AIA had presented, like an embossed type, certificate. And I believe the problem with that was that, this is a state document, so no third party could actually handle that, right? So I think that was the problem. So I don't know how this was produced, whether it was printed and then, you put that gold seal on it. That's probably the state was doing that, so. I think that's probably why, the third party couldn't handle that.
And perhaps it's only in the accountant's case, they may have provided certificate and state may have then put the seal on top of it, with signatures or whatever. I'm not sure the exact logistics. But certainly the old certificate, which in an informal poll, people tend to like. It was probably done in a way back then where it's actually printed on a certain type of paper. You might have had to have a calligrapher or whatever. But now with modern technology, Word or whatever, you could produce it electronically and just print the thing. Perhaps you might still need the fancier paper, but definitely something for all of us to be proud of. It's a lot of effort to achieve that level of licensure, and something to post at our place of employment would definitely be something that we could and others could look up to strive for.
So, yeah, so to add, can the state go back to this? They must have some kind of, I don't know, a blank form that could use, or, right? The seal maybe buy it from the same vendor, or that way the state doesn't have to produce something new. That could be a viable option. I don't know what the, what was previous to this.
Janet Primiano, public member. I wanted to know, do we have a copy of what it looks like now? That's the current one, okay, oh no. I know the state wants to save money, but, yeah, it should be something beautiful that we could have people put on their wall because they earned it. And also I have a question about when a person has something that had happened to their original certificate, could they get an updated, nice one instead of just a blank copy?
Or you could just print your own.
Or whatever it is.
Currently, we have, new licensees print their own. We don't actually print licenses anymore.
Okay, all right, because this is really awful. So I would not want to hang this on my wall. Mine was many years ago and it's dental hygienist and was handwritten. It was handwritten, so, yeah,
Is it like this?
Yes.
but it wasn't that beautiful.
This is
Wasn't
in
that beautiful?
1978.
Yeah, mine was around that time, no, be a little after that.
A lot of our engineers, when they see mine, can we pay more and get this? And they don't mind paying.
I think people wouldn't mind paying. I don't know,
That is very nice.
Nancy?
My question is, because of the cost, I mean, is it just an 8.5 by 11 size problem and the duplication and printing? I mean, is that the thing? I think mine is long. Yeah, well, mine is portrait and I think it's more, I don't have the fancy order.
Just like
But
without the fancy
yes.
frills.
That one, similar, but, the design or maybe different. Art as the same style as architects and landscape architects. Those of us in the design profession, I mean, we hang this on the wall of our office. We're very proud of it. So, including everything else, all our other credentials. Yeah, all of our other credentials. So, I mean, this is just a Xerox copy. I'm hoping that the state of Hawaii insignias in color or something, or no? I mean, I wouldn't hang this on my wall.
Another item I would, this is Kevin Katayama. Another item I would add is for the engineers. Currently, there's no discipline. This is listed on certificates. There used to be whether you're licensed in civil, structural, mechanical, used to have the discipline. Now it just says professional engineer.
Yeah, Alan Inaba, surveyor member. I personally, I had one like Tony's from the 70s and early 80s. And I would like to see the state of the board try to go back to that original, original, but before that, but it's a very nice. I believe mine was a little bigger than that. I think, I'm not sure, but anyway, there's something you can be proud of to hang on your wall, and you're required to hang your license in your place of business, yeah, so. I mean, if you look at this and you look at that, there's no comparison. So if possible, I really would like to see the board go back to that. If this is possible. I mean, with technology today, I'm sure it's not very difficult to get that done again. I mean, of course, like when you say the cost, I would happily pay for one like that. I got one that's plain. My replacement, I had a replacement because I lost mine in a fire. Our business got burnt down. And I got it replaced, and the replacement didn't even have a seal on it. So, I mean, it's, that's just my comment. And if possible, Tony, Tony, you know the work on this?
Sorry.
Are you the one doing all the research?
And no, I'm just offering some my own personal research.
Sure. Yeah, that, green one is really nice.
Sorry, one more comment, Tony Lau.
Howard, yeah, that's the real license.
And you know, if one hurdle becomes, perhaps the state doesn't necessarily have resources for them to spend the time to design it, I'm sure you probably could find it, or a professional organization would volunteer to offer up different designs for the state to consider. And certainly would probably be willing to donate that for the state to use.
I have one thought. I agree with all of you. The current certificate is a little bad. However, at the minimum, is it possible to just mail the seal so it looks a little bit more professional? I mean, I think the seal is what really makes it look like something was actually achieved. However, I would like to see some of these.
What seal?
Yeah.
Like duplicate cake without the seal. What happened at that time, the part were not a seal, maybe, I don't know.
So they can mail the seal and at least someone can, stick it on their printed thing. Maybe that would be nicer. Yes, it would look nice.
John Lucas, I also, I received one of those, by email as a PDF. I was very, very excited to get my, my initial license. And then having printed it out and showed it to my supervisor, he, he kind of looked at it like, what? Because he has one of those. Some function at the Entrepreneur Sandbox, it's called. And there was a bunch of like distinguished AIA guys there, and they're all like, this is ridiculous. So I appreciate the frugality and that the state's kind of lean, but having gone through the ARE and flying over and getting up to Prometric on time, and it wasn't easy. And it was very rewarding to finally pass. It was a little disappointing to just get a PDF email after all that endeavor. But I'm glad that it was signed by Bert, and I'm glad that I have it.
I don't know. I agree with John. It's Nancy Cassandra, landscape
Don't have
architect,
license at all.
is a lot of us in the profession and even medical and all them, you're talking about years of experience and education. And so some people it's maybe 10, 12 years of work and so maybe several times sitting for the exam. So to receive this and just only print it out yourself is, I think, disheartening. But also, my son just graduated from college. And so the university sent an 8x10 little thing in a folder. And you could order whatever you wanted. They had a selection of 3 different diplomas that you could pay for in addition and order with a seal. You could order it framed, whatever, and they would mail it to you. So I don't know if the issue is just the cost to the state, if there's a way that people can maybe order a second or what they want to have on their wall. So, I mean, even the 8x10 from the university was still quite nice, had an embossed gold thing on it. But if you wanted it larger or whatever. So I think the option to purchase something better, if it has to remain something so basic because of cost. I mean, it is unfortunate that this is because of cost.
Another thing of interest is that this is real calligraphy. And the calligraphy was done by prisoners at the prison.
Wow.
So it has special meaning when.
That has special meaning, and that also is like a community involvement and community outreach. And I mean, that is noteworthy, I think.
That has value as compared to,
I did provide a code frame to dress it up.
And it has their real original signature by the chair and the secretary. It's not a printed up.
Yeah.
So someone had to make a lot of effort. And they makes you feel good that you spent all that effort and the board also spent the effort to award you. And people are willing to pay for it because I think if it's $100, $200, they probably pay for it. That's what I'm hearing from most of my engineers when they look on the wall and they see all of their certificates that look like that, and then they see mine. How can I get that? I went through as much trouble as you. I want that.
Janet Primiano, public member, just a comment. I know everybody, there were comments about having to, willingness to pay for it to be nicer. Don't we all, as a professional in this, in the various professions, don't they have to pay a registration fee to renew our license every year? And some might be more depending on your profession than others. And I'm wondering, my question would be, why would they have to pay extra to get a nicer certificate? It should be included and it should be mailed to the recipient. So that's my comment. I'm just a little disturbed that it's going downhill.
Raise the licensure fee.
Yeah, so I think there's a consensus.
Because it's not there.
Thank you. I'll bring those. I've taken notes. The most common thing for sure being an option to purchase a fancier license or a more designed one, but I want to see what the feasibility is of at least changing the font, maybe adding a border or a picture, see what our options there are. Getting the community involved, that is, personally, that's an awesome statement or an awesome addition. Adding discipline for engineers, mailing a seal at the very least. I'll bring these notes to administration and let you know what I find out. Thank you.
So last thing, Tony Lau, Eli, if you do need a one person, I'd be willing to volunteer to be a point person to work with you on it.
Thank you.
For the board.
I'll let you know. Thank you.
Okay, moving on, agenda item number 5, scope of practice. There's an inquiry from the Waste Department of Health, wastewater branch, regarding type of engineers that is legally allowed to sign for wastewater related design, construction, and project help. Is there any public testimony?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay. We received the letter testimony from Mr. Jonathan Nagato. I do see he is in attendance here. There he is. Thank you for submitting this, Jonathan. I will read the letter now. The Department of Health wastewater branch respectfully requests that the following question be added to the next Board of Professional ISLA meeting agenda. Wastewater, recycled water, reused water, and wastewater sludge related projects involve irrigation, drainage, water supply, flood control, inland waterways, municipal improvements, purification of water, geotechnical activities, sewerage disposal, individual wastewater systems, wastewater treatment works, recycled water systems, reuse water projects, treatment and disposal of wastewater and gray water, production and reuse of recycled water, treatment and disposal of wastewater sludge, and production and reuse of biosolids. Which type of engineer For example, agricultural, chemical, civil, electrical, industrial, mechanical, structural, is legally allowed to sign and stamp for wastewater, recycled water, reuse water, and wastewater sludge related planning, design, construction, operation, maintenance, and project documents. For example, engineering reports, basis of design reports, construction drawings, applications, certifications, construction inspection reports, final inspections reports, as-built drawings, etc. Thank you.
Any board discussion? Tony Lau?
So this is Tony Lau, civil engineer. So I would say, not necessarily a straightforward answer. If you look at the type of things that are mentioned in the first paragraph, water, wastewater, recycled water, et cetera. If you look at it holistically, I would say generally it falls under the civil engineers. But if you're talking about line drawings, it really depends on what kind of drawings you're talking about. So if I were to use an example of if the set of drawings is for a wastewater treatment plant facilities, certainly the pipelines and treatment elements certainly would fall under civil. But if you're talking about a building for a pump house, the building itself would fall under an architect. The structural aspects of the building would fall under a structural engineer. Pumps could fall either under civil or mechanical. So that's the part where it would just depend. Electrical power and things like that would fall under electrical purview. Certainly we should not be stamping anything outside of our own area of expertise. But if you're talking about a study, generally if the entity requires a stamp on the study as a whole, and it's about these particular topics, certainly I think you would want a civil engineer or potentially our new environmental engineer, depending on the type of discussion in the study, planning study, really depends on the scope.
And it's not just engineers, landscape architects work in recycled water and reuse systems as well for irrigation. And, so we've been involved in those types of projects too.
So it's not straightforward an answer.
Any other comments?
I have another comment. Having been involved in these types of projects, the State Department of Health has reclaimed water reuse design guidelines. You also have to get a DOH permit for use of those systems.
Okay.
I mean, what does the current civil? Is there a requirement? Wastewater, there's not no requirement.
Sorry, just talking about, I guess it depends on what type of deliverable you're talking about, whether study or design drawings.
So it's like, in my opinion, I'm not an engineer, but with design and as built, well, all disciplines, because like you mentioned, I agree. Civil, structural, electrical, mechanical, and maybe as Joe said, whatever. Not defined by statute or.
Yeah, I think it's more related to scope of services that's required for a wastewater project, right? And so if it involves building mechanical equipment, like such as pumps and things like that, you'll have to, that will be determined by what the scope is and what kind of expertise, the project would require.
We also do have the definitions specifically of the engineering disciplines in our Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 16, Section 115-2. That contains definitions of civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical, etc. And there are examples in those definitions as well to reference.
So read the definition of environmental engineer, the newly formed. Put it there.
Let me look it up. I should probably tell you that. If you want, or-
No, yeah, if it might interest,
Oh, perfect. Environmental engineering means that branch of engineering which embraces studies of activities relating to wastewater, stormwater, potable water, and water resources, air quality systems and pollution control, municipal and industrial solid waste, hazardous waste, medical, radioactive, and other waste, site assessment and remediation, and environmental health and safety assessment. Except as noted otherwise provided above, this definition shall not be construed to permit an environmental engineer to practice any other branch of professional engineering. This definition shall also not be construed to prevent civil engineers from performing the above work within their respective scope of practice, as provided in this chapter and chapter 464 of the HRS, the Hawaii Revised Statutes, excuse me.
thank you. Hopefully that answers Jonathan Nagato's question.
One more comment, Tony Lau. So on the flip side, of course, like I mentioned, as a holistically, when you're talking water, and so on and so forth, generally speaking, it probably would fall under a civil, but again, specifics. So certainly a civil should not be stamping drawings related to a wastewater building, even though wastewater falls under civil. It should be the appropriate discipline for the type of services being offered for that design.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, agenda item number 6, applications. Board may move into exit.
Big excuse. Be right back.
Board may move into executive session in accordance to HRS 92-4 and 92-5A1 and 4. To consider and evaluate personal information relating to individuals applying for licensure, and to consult with the board's attorney on questions and issues pertaining to the board's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liability. The board will vote open session. And item number 6A, ratification list. It's attached in the agenda. Any public testimony on the ratification list?
Thank you. We do not have any requesting to provide oral testimony.
Motion to approve the ratification list. Second,
Okay.
number second. Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And item number 6B, recommendation of the following application review committee. Again, attached in the agenda. There a motion? Oh, is there any public testimony?
Thank you, Chair, that we do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the recommendation of the applications committee?
So
Brian, second.
Brian, second. Nays, recusals, or abstentions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have a motion to move into executive session in accordance to HRS 92-4 and 92-5A1 and 4.6.
Or actually, before we make a motion for that, I think we should ask just if there's any public comments for anything in C. Or I guess anything in C and 7A and B, just to see it, because we're gonna.
Is there any public comments for agenda item number 60, 7A? Is E?
6E as well.
6E. 6E, 7A and 7B.
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay. We have a motion to move into executive session in accordance with HRS 92-4, 92-5A1, 4, and 6. To consider and evaluate personal information related to individuals applying for licensure and to consult with the board's attorney on questions and the issues pertaining to the board's powers, duties, privileges, immunities, and liabilities. To consider sensitive matters related to public safety or security for the items 6, 7, A, and B.
So moved.
Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So we're in executive session as of
That's all
11.
the report on one moment.
Okay.
Be excused for
Maybe just for sunshine. Instead of saying legal, so regulated industries. Yes, because.
That's a lot of, Good.
Just waiting for John.
JT. Okay, buddy. Okay, welcome back to open session. You summarized what happened in executive session. The board consulted with the board's attorney regarding confidential engineering applications of Eric Henderson, Clarence McAllister, architects Kindo Madsen, Tien Nguyen, and landscape architect Nicholas Phipps.
Surveyor.
No, land surveyor Nicholas Phipps. We also discussed sunshine law. The board also reviewed confidential information for the appointment of an advisory committee member to assist with the regulatory industries complaint office or RICO investigations. So can we have a motion for Eric Henderson?
Motion to approve Eric Henderson's PEVN endorsement. Our law second.
Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? Seeing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Clarence McAllister. Is there a motion for his application?
Motion is to defer Mr. McAllister's application subject to requesting him to provide additional information at the next board meeting.
Second?
Second, Howard.
Second, Howard Lau. Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Kindo Madsen, is there a motion for our application?
Motion to approve.
Howard Lau, motion to approve our application. A second? Brian Fujiwara, second. Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Architect Tien Nguyen, motion for his application.
Yeah, I move that we defer his application and ask for more information.
Okay, motion to defer, any second?
Second.
Jonathan Lucas, second. Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And surveyor Nicholas Phipps. Is there a motion for his application?
Motion to approve.
Howard Lau, motion to approve. Alan and Abba, second. Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Gee, or no. Is there a motion for the appointment of the advisory committee member to the regulatory industries complaint office?
Motion to approve.
Howard Lau, second.
Any nays, recusals, or abstentions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Agenda item number 7C, update on Senate Bill 6025 relating to landscape architects. To Senator Moriaki's office. I believe we covered most of that in our interactive group discussions.
You just ask for members of the, comment and views.
Are there any people in the public waiting to make comments?
Thank you, Chair. We do not have anyone requesting to provide oral testimony.
Okay, thank you.
I can provide a summary of the comments that we sent to the.
You need a summary of comments? Or that's in the packet?
It's in the packet. I can provide a summary if you didn't get a chance to. Okay, I'll make it extra brief.
Okay.
Let's see, in the letter, the board expressed concerns wanting to bring attention to the bill as written Would remove specific education, exam, and experience requirements from the Hawaii Revised Statutes 464-8B. In the absence of specific requirements, the board would be responsible for promulgating administrative rules to establish the education, exam, and experience requirements. The bill would also eliminate the current no degree pathway, further restricting potential applicants with years of experience. And the language of the bill is unclear as to whether the current requirement for landscape architect applicants to pass the Hawaii State Plants Material Exam would be maintained. The importance of this exam is emphasized given Hawaii's unique environmental, statutory, and cultural. The board proposed new language for SB 1625 addressing these concerns, and the board finished the letter informing Senator Moriwaki's office that a PIG is being reported at this meeting and respectfully requests allowing to submit a report providing further entry to the Senator's office following the school board meeting on December 11th.
Okay. So you have until December. Actually, you have until the next meeting because we have to present it to the public. And in the December meeting, we have to discuss it amongst the board. Thank you for your service. Agenda item number 8, election of officers in accordance to HRS 436B6A. The annual election of board and board chairperson and vice chairperson for this committee, this board. Is there a nomination for chair?
Not the vice chair automatically.
Okay, we nominate Tony Lau. Is there a nomination for your vice chair for this board?
Well, first, I want to make a statement is that prior we used to rotate, like engineers, architects, landscape architects. And so I don't know if you still want to do that. I mean, that at least gives an opportunity to.
There's good and bad because the chairperson and vice chairperson in current days will have the responsibility of assisting the EO at the legislature to testify for bills. So if people, members of the public or the architecture member wants to continue with rotating, that's the only downside. Sometimes the public members aren't as, they're aware of what we do, but aren't aware of exactly the ramifications for the laws that happen to our profession.
But Janet was our
Yes.
last chair, who was a public member.
But in her place, I had to go testify.
Are you asking for a nomination for the vice chair?
Oh, yes, I was
So
asking.
I'm offering in lieu of what Ryan has said, currently the existing chair and vice chair are both engineers. So maybe it'd be a good idea to bring on a little bit more diversity from a different point of view. Looking at the current makeup of the board, some members are brand new, so you want to toss them in the fire right away. And some have already been vice chair or chair. So I am offering up a nomination of Nancy as a landscape architect for the position of vice chair.
I'll accept the nomination.
My second.
Wait, we gotta vote. Don't we have to vote? There's no vote over here.
Just more of a discussion.
Oh, we do. Apologies, we do vote.
We just second the nomination.
So is there a motion to nominate
He made the motion. and
Tony
Ryan
for
seconded.
chairperson? He can nominate him. For both, is there a motion to have Tony as chairperson and Nancy as vice chair?
So moved.
Second. Any nays, abstentions, or recusals? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next meeting, August 9th. Same time, same place. October 9th. Same time, same place.
I'll offer a side comment. Unfortunately, I will not be here for the October meeting. So,
You're the chairperson.
yeah, so.
You're fired. Meeting is adjourned 12:15.
So rather than throwing Nancy all the way into deep into the fire,